When it comes to new releases of video games and such, usually between companies, there are little celebratory moments where one company will congratulate the other one, saying, "Oh, what a successful release your game has been, your console, whatever it is." Everybody likes to have a feel good time to show that, oh, even though we're in the same competition, we still have to show that we respect our own competitors. But what if someone in that situation goes a little cuckoo and starts to incite some salty words? That's what we're going to look at today. Not companies, but devs getting salty. We'll be looking at one of the most notable ones that have happened in the present day and how salty people have gotten over these situations. To start off, we're going to be talking about the most recent one that happened at the Game Awards. Yeah, funny enough, the Game Awards 2023, we talked about it last time. Christopher Judge, who is the voice actor for Kratos, came to the stage and decided to say some words. And one of the things he said was, "My speech from last year was longer than the Call of Duty campaign of this year." Everybody knew it was a joke. No one really cares to even think of it as nothing other than a joke, unless you were a salty person that has already been affected by the bum-rushing complaints that have been already put towards this game. We actually have a couple of Call of Duty developers that have already said something. So let's see what kind of response they had. Of course, all of these responses are responses that have been posted on Twitter. No let's say secret recordings or anything. No, these developers have put everything flat online for everybody to see in the public, and we are here for that kind of stupidness. So let's look at the first ones. Funny, but yeah, the metrics that Call of Duty absolutely destroys all of the God of War games, probably combined, to be honest, it is also equally laughable, if not more. You can see the saltiness just pouring out of this person's just skin. You can feel the hate, not even the hate, but you can feel the tiredness of being crapped on the whole time about the idea that the campaign was short. Imagine having short user engagement once your game is consumed. Can't relate. # Game Awards. This one has already been made fun of to all heck, and I will tell you why. God of War is just a linear story gameplay. Call of Duty is a game that has single player, multiplayer, and zombies with this current release, so it's bound that they're going to have much more user engagement on Call of Duty than on God of War. I don't get what kind of point this person's trying to prove. Okay, cool, people are playing your game longer. Good for you, I guess. Honestly, as COD developers, we've heard way worse, but we don't expect it from a peer. At an event that's supposed to be celebrating this year's achievements in gaming, especially with all the information that was leaked about its development, and then a URL to a different tweet. But we don't care about that. We care about this thing. It was a joke. It was a joke. I don't think there was any ill will with what he said. There wasn't. It's obvious there wasn't. But to each his own. If you think he meant it with ill intent, he was malicious with the way he said what he said, that's on you. Honestly, these kinds of jokes have been around for so long. This kind of response to it is just very weird, honestly. Next, we're going to look at another game that was in the Game Awards, and it was the game that won the Game of the Year, Baldur's Gate 3. Some devs had some things to say about it, and we're going to look at one of these devs right now. This one's kind of longer, so I'll read it to you, and interpret it the way you want to. I will do it the way I want to. At the end, I will explain what I thought about it. Like a lot of people, I'm deeply excited about what the lovely folks at Larian accomplished with Baldur's Gate 3, but I want to gently, preemptively push back against players taking that excitement and using it to apply criticism or a raised standard to RPGs going forward. You can't separate a game from the process used to build it. So let's look at what Larian is taking into the development and final version of this game. Dev cycles stretching back to 2017 approximately, 2 massive games and their definitive editions worth of tech and institutional knowledge to draw from, super successful early access period lasting 3 years providing crucial information, feedback, bug hunting, and cash flow. Over 400 developers in 7 different offices around the world, not including outsourcing partners, the license, brand, and world of one of the largest entertainment IPs in the world, D&D, Dungeons & Dragons. At the apex of its popularity with the rise of the actual play movement and a movie. This is a small, incomplete list. Larian is coming into this game swinging, with a gigantic weight of expectation to deal with, but they're also doing it with an immense amount of wind. Direct experience plus resources plus specialty tooling plus etc. at their backs. As a TLDR, in an era of mega games, Baldur's Gate 3 is one of the largest attempted, built by a specialized group of people using mature tech specially built to make this specific game, reinforced by invaluable mass player feedback and market validation ahead of its launch. This is not a new baseline for RPGs. This is an anomaly. Trying to do the same thing in the same way, especially without the same advantages, could kill an entire group of studios. If they go as big or bigger with their next title, Larian themselves could die. That's the risk and reward of the mega game. We are an industry dangling elephants over cliffs, pointing at the ones that don't collapse under their own weight as indictments to the ones that do. So please celebrate the achievement represented by Baldur's Gate 3. It looks like a massive amount of effort is about to pay off in a big way for one of the brightest voices in the medium. But if you shout that every RPG should be like this going forward, you have no excuse. You've not just missed the point, you've created the expectations and conditions to ensure your favorite creators may never be able to give you the thing you love ever again. Reading that 10 tweet rant, I want to call this a rant. It was a rant, and I can kind of see where this person is coming from, this developer. I can. Baldur's Gate just knocked it out of the park, but that's the weird thing. You can't tell everybody not to raise their expectations just because this specific game did everything amazingly and you can't. You should be able to do some things. It doesn't need to set a new standard. It's not setting a new standard for how games should be. It's showing you that they made an amazing game. You don't need to make the same thing as they did, but you should have that kind of implementation. You should be able to reach not those heights, but a base version of what they made. You don't need to go crazy like they did, as you stated, with all of the things that they have and they've done. Something, even with a long development time and given the correct amount of time for it, will become successful. Not everything needs to be rushed. That's what I believe Baldur's Gate 3 shows. I don't understand why this person thinks that now everybody wants a raised expectation. Everybody wants their game, the next game from any developer, to be Baldur's Gate 3. No one's raising their expectations to that level. That's a crazy amount level as of this date. As of the date of this year, whatever you want to call it, it's really hard to make another game like Baldur's Gate 3. I understand that. but you should be able to make something close to a base version of Baldur's Gate 3. You should be able to, but you don't need to reach Baldur's Gate 3 levels. Now we're going to throw it back to last year, and we're going to be talking about when last year's Game of the Year, Elden Ring, released. Oh yeah, even when that game came out, there were a couple of developers, specifically from a developer from Ubisoft and a developer from the game Horizon Zero Dawn, I think it was called. They decided to jump onto Twitter, when it was still called Twitter, I believe, and complain. The fact that hashtag Elden Ring scored a 97 Metacritic is proof that reviewers don't give a flaming poop about game UX. My life is a lie. And then a second developer chimes in and says, nor PC graphics, stability, and performance apparently. And then a third developer from the Horizon game chimes in and says, nor quest design, really. This was funny because at this time, Horizon just came out with a new game and it was competing directly with Elden Ring, and Elden Ring just sweeped it. Elden Ring took everybody, just kept their attention on them, and no one could do anything about that. That's the only reason these developers were complaining. They put out a product and everybody just ignored the product dropping and everybody focused completely on Elden Ring. Which is where this photo comes into play, which shows the UX that would have been designed if it was an Ubisoft game. Competition is always fun. It's great when everybody competes and you can recognize your opponents and respect them. Why? Because they are in the same field as you and you have to show them you have that prowess. You want to fight with them, not physically, but like you want to fight with them in the work field, let's say. And it all takes time. Like, you have to respect, you have to congratulate your competitors. But if you're going to be salty and just complain that, oh, these guys did it that way, I would have done it that way, you gotta remember, you're doing that publicly, and you will be getting shit on. Do not forget that. Also, like and subscribe. See ya.